Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm Jada. I'm going to be your therapist today. Just talk to you, have our first session, and it's going to be great. Before we get started, I just want to assure you that confidentiality is of the utmost importance, and I adhere to the professional and legal standards to protect your privacy. However, there are some exceptions when I'm required to break confidentiality by law as a mandated reporter. So this just means that if you, the client, poses a threat to yourself or others or reveals a contemplation of a crime or harmful act, or if there is suspected abuse of a child, elder, or mentally disadvantaged person, I would have to report that. Of course, I hope these situations don't arise, but it is my responsibility to care for you and others, and I will contact the appropriate authorities if necessary. Does all that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, awesome. So let's get started. Is there anything in particular that you would like to talk about today? An issue that you've been dealing with lately?
Yes, it's school related for me right now. I just feel like because it's almost the end of the semester, slash school year, and I feel like I'm really burnt out at this point. So like I'm really struggling to find motivation to finish out strong and like do all the studying I need to do and do all the because it's like final projects, finals, all that kind of stuff is really stressful because at this point in the year, I don't have any energy to do it. So I'm really like struggling with that energy and motivation to finish.
I understand. Yes. That can be really difficult, that like burnout that you start feeling when you've been doing something for an extended amount of time,
Yes,
especially as a student. And I'm sure you have other things going on in your life as well. So
exactly.
I definitely understand that. How long would you say you've been dealing with this feeling?
Um, I would say it hit really hard after spring break. Because I was doing pretty good. I had a good momentum going, but I came back from spring break and was just like tapped out. Like I'm ready to be done. I was tired all the time.
Absolutely. Okay. I understand that. Um, so let me ask you, have you experienced this before in your previous semesters?
I have. And I think that's why it almost bothers me to this point because it happens every year at like the same time. So
Mm,
I just feel like I should be more equipped to deal with it because I know it's coming. Like, but it still catches me off guard every time.
mm,
So
okay. Okay. What have you done in the past times that this has happened? Have you done anything to try and counteract this feeling? Anything that was successful or wasn't successful?
honestly, no, I'm not even gonna lie. In the past, I kind of just like grit my teeth through it and just get through to the end. Um, and just sit with like doing almost the bare minimum just so I can be like, okay, it's off the table. Like I don't even have to worry about it.
Mm,
And not being able to put my full effort into everything I'm doing like I did earlier in the semester.
okay, I see, I understand. So you feel like, just to clarify, you feel like you kind of just do what's required. You're not necessarily putting your best foot forward as you were previously just to get through it.
Yes, yes. And therefore I feel like I'm not learning as much because I'm only doing the basic like requirements. I'm not even soaking in the information I'm supposed to. I'm just putting it down on whatever assignment it is to be able to turn it in.
Hmm. Yeah, that's difficult, for sure, especially being a student, um, and experiencing that multiple times.
Yes.
Um, I do want to commend you for getting through it because, there is always the option of not getting through it. So, um, that is something to be proud of yourself for. But I think we can also work towards some solutions to maybe help you cope with this a little bit better, and just brainstorm some things that you might be able to use and see if that helps lighten that feeling a little bit. So, my question for you is a little bit hypothetical, but let's suppose that you go to sleep tonight and a miracle occurs and this feeling of burnout is just gone.
Yeah.
And you're sleeping, you don't know that it's happened, and the problem is just solved.
Hmm.
What do you think you'll notice the next morning that will let you know that something is different?
That's a good question. I think I would be not even happy, but content with going through my entire day. Because at this point, I feel like I'm dreading the part of the day where I finally sit down to do whatever work I need to do. So then the whole day almost has a little rain cloud over it because I'm doing other things I need to do, like going to work. But the whole time I'm at work, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like I have to go home and do homework. Like,
Mm,
I don't have the energy for this. And like it's almost like an avoidance. So I feel like I would just feel that weight lifted off my shoulder of wanting to avoid something my entire day that I know eventually I'm gonna have to do. So if I
mm,
could actually be like okay with doing something like that, if I woke up and I didn't have burnout and I was just ready to do all my schoolwork, that would be great. I feel like my day would be much smoother. It would be my mind would be clearer, like
mm-hmm.
just be better overall.
Yeah, yeah, I can see how you would feel that way. Is there anything that you feel like would be different, maybe physically for you as well?
Definitely. Only, yeah, because I feel like that me feeling like that mentally does affect me physically. Like I'm
Hmm.
automatically feeling more tired, automatically feeling more drained just throughout my day. Like I come home and I just want to get in bed. Like it just feels like there is no light, like my life is getting sucked out of me from schoolwork at this point. And I don't even know why. It's kind of confusing, but how it's affecting me physically. Like I understand mentally, but it does affect me physically where I am actually tired and I feel like I'll sleep 8 hours and I still am like, when I hear my alarm and like sad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if that miracle happened, maybe you wouldn't feel as tired, you'd have a clear mind, so there'd be mental and physical differences for sure.
Yeah.
So, thinking about that, what do you think could be a first step towards this miracle? Like, let's brainstorm. What do you think is something that would help you feel less tired physically and less tired mentally?
Um, I think really it would be like the acceptance that it's gonna get done regardless. Um, while I know it's gonna like obviously I have to do it, there is almost like a small part of me that's just like if I ignore it long enough, the assignment will disappear. And it's not like accepting that
Mm,
that's definitely not going to happen and I'm gonna end up doing it sometime in the day. I think that would impact almost every movement I make towards school for the entire day. Because if I was just like, oh no, I have an assignment due at 11:59, I wouldn't get up at a certain time and just like procrastinate and avoid that assignment and be like, well, it's too late now because I have to go to work. just to make
Mhm.
it feel like I don't have to do schoolwork, when in reality, I'm gonna come home from work, be even more tired from working an entire day, and then have to do schoolwork on top of that. So I feel like me just being like just knowing that, like, okay, this assignment is gonna have to get done at some point in the day. Do I want it to get done earlier and just, get it off of my mental, and get it off my brain so I'm not thinking about that all day and I can move forward on my day? First of all, feeling more accomplished because I did something and I started my day with a successful thing, something positive, instead of
Mhm.
starting it with something that I'm almost beating myself up about because why didn't I just do the assignment when I had time? And then second of all, I would just feel like there's one less thing to do on my plate. Like I can come home from work and just be like, oh, well, I already did my assignment. I was prepared. There's no rush. And I,
Right.
was able to take my time. I'm turning in more quality work. It would just end up better. So really it's just I feel like breaking that avoidance and procrastination because the assignment is gonna have to get done regardless.
Yeah, no, that's a really good way to look at it, and that's really, I mean, I think you should definitely give yourself props for recognizing that a mindset change is what you need to help with this. Is this kind of the mindset that you had in the past, and that's how you were is this how you usually start out your semesters?
Yes, I always start extremely organized. Um, I know how to I'm really good with time management in the beginning for every assignment to delegate
Mhm.
the perfect like a good amount of time to where I'm actually grasping every concept that I need to. So it just slips away over time. And then at a certain point, I feel like I'm drowning in the work and I can't.
Mhm.
Uh,
Okay. So, I think a good goal for you moving forward would maybe be to try and get one thing academically done and to start your day in the mornings. And it can be something super small. It can just be, that 10-question quiz that you're putting off until the last second. It could just be, looking over notes, looking over the module for that week, whatever it might be. Um, I think that's a good first step. And just even if it's small, just doing something in the morning. Because even the smallest thing, which I'm sure you can agree, even the smallest thing that you take off your plate, it does make a difference at the end of the day whenever you're trying to get other things done. So what
yes.
do you think about that?
I think that's a really good solution and like a reasonable one that I feel like I could definitely handle and actually implement. Um, and I feel like I would see results with that.
Okay, that's great. I love to hear that. And I think this is something that I would love to see you try and do every day until our next session. And then maybe we can touch base from there and see how you're feeling. I do have another question for you, just to kind of close out this session. But on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 meaning you're feeling not really burnt out at all and you're feeling very successful with managing feeling burnt out, and one feeling meaning that you don't know what to do about your burnout. Um, how would you rate yourself in this moment?
Um, I would say 10 being I feel successful.
Hmm.
I would say I feel like a 4, maybe. Like I
Okay.
know I could be doing better, but I'm not all the way like helpless or like, anything like that.
Okay. Okay. And that's good. I'm glad that you don't feel like super hopeless. What do you think, like, what would make the difference in like 0.5 points? Like, what are those little things that might matter?
Mm, definitely time management, feeling like I have enough time to do every assignment so I don't feel like they're dogpiling on me to where I have
Mhm.
to rush to finish several in one day.
Mhm.
Um, that would make me feel less burnout because, you know, if I was doing time management in a healthier way, I probably would do like spread my assignments out throughout the week, meaning that I would only do like one a day or something instead of 5 on Friday. So,
Mhm.
in general, that would make me feel less burnout because I'm not going to feel as tired doing
Mhm.
5 assignments versus one. Um, so that would make a
Absolutely.
big difference.
Yeah, I think so too. I think yeah, that would make a difference in your rating. I also want to suggest just before we close out this session to think even smaller and
Mhm.
think about maybe how act of self-care could raise you zero point 0.5 points, or
Yeah.
how increasing your water intake could increase you by 5.5 points. Um,
Yeah.
so, and we can go into that more next session, once we talk about how you've been doing. Um, but I think, when we look at burnout, we definitely have to look at everything about the self and everything about your life and how you're fueling yourself and taking care of yourself. You're on the right track. You're doing great. Your awareness is honestly what will help you in this case. So, how are you feeling? Are you feeling okay with what we talked about with trying to take care of one thing every day until our next session in the mornings?
I'm feeling good. I feel like that's just going to be helpful in general. I do really think that'll make a difference instead of trying to avoid things. And I feel like I'm capable of that. So that makes me feel better because, it's hard to set goals and then when you don't reach them, it makes it worse sometimes. So I feel like that's a goal that um, I can definitely, keep up with and just add a little bit more rapport throughout my week to feel better.
I'm so glad to hear that. I agree. I think you're totally capable, and I'm looking forward to our next session. So, thank you so much for coming today and sharing how you're feeling today.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too.